Hi YouTube, welcome to Butterfly Alchemist. This is Lunaria, and this is going to be one of my first long form posts, and I hope you all enjoy. It's definitely outside of my comfort zone, but that actually relates strongly to what I'll be talking about today. So, we each have normal ways that we are used to functioning, normal ways we are used to being what we think we are. And we tend to feel a lot of comfort and safety in those ways of being and behaving. It doesn't always mean that is actually truest to what we're meant to become. And it doesn't mean that's actually where our greatest sense of safety is found. So I'll go into that now, and why long form videos for me are part of that journey of change. I've always been more comfortable as a singer. And I usually make my messages pretty short because I actually have an insecurity about my ability to produce content that is of the spoken word and maintain a sense of meaningfulness throughout it. And I always felt like with singing, at least I knew I had that down, and I knew that it was something I didn't feel less stable or sure in. But as this channel is evolving, I want to evolve with it. And if I'm promoting alchemy, I want to alchemize myself too. And the thing is, that shows that we each have insecurities. Some people may feel more nervous with acting, some with science, some with puzzles, some with logic. We each have areas we feel we are not as secure in. But I think it is incredibly heartbreaking that in our limited time on earth, where we get to play and learn, that we worry about that to the point maybe we don't try something outside of what we think we're good at or equipped for. And the thing is that could be very scary about this is, what if your true calling is actually in that space that you right now think you're not equipped for? A few years ago, I questioned my capacity to start my singing channel, and I told my family, how will I get used to being on a camera when I can't even look people in the eye very comfortably in person? And they said, you've always wished for this. Just see what happens, and you won't even see the screen after a while. And this turned out to be very true. And if I had limited myself to what I first believed, I never would have ventured out to try this. So I would say, instead of worrying about what you're good at, think about what speaks to your heart most. What do you love to do? What do you feel excited for? I wake up every day excited to go on here and see our community and interact with all of you, and to think of ways to continue to connect with everyone. And that helps me overcome any unfamiliarity that I could feel. So the thing is, if you love something enough, you will grow with it. So the key is not being in something that you're good at, it's in being something you love. So now talk about the power of a name and how that can be transferred into your own life. In my personal alchemy journey, I know on here I am known as Butterfly Alchemist or Lunaria, and that is part of the picture. When I take on or wear those names, it embodies something or imbues something within me, and I feel like Lunaria. I feel like Alchemist. And a lot of performers in music know this. Think of Freddie Mercury. Think of Lady Gaga. A lot of these performers know that by releasing the attachment to a name and allowing yourself to embody another name, you expand as a person. And it's nothing, anyone can do this. So that had me thinking. That minor change started me realizing that I wanted to change my real name, my legal name. And I am in that process right now. And I felt a lot of guilt and a lot of interesting emotions through that. I thought, am I being disloyal to my family? I never hear of Arabic women or women who were raised Coptic doing this. I never hear really of anyone else around me changing their name. Uh, and I had discussions with my loved ones about how they felt about me wanting to use this as a tool for growth and healing. I went through many, many struggles outside of my health, struggles that made me come to a point where I felt my original name felt like an old outfit I no longer wanted to reside in. My soul, my spirit wanted to reside in a new home, a new inner home with a new name. And I felt very worried if people would be hurt by this decision, but that delayed the process by 3 years. I contemplated it, even though I already knew in my heart this needed to happen. And I'm glad I'm finally taking that plunge because I got my new keychain with my new initial for my new legal name, and I'm starting the paperwork, and I feel more and more excited to release the old and take on the new. Of course, there's some grief there, but overall, it's a beautiful feeling. And it made me realize we cheat ourselves of so many beautiful feelings out of a fear of change, out of a fear of what our loved ones will think, out of a fear of what our identity ethnically is. And I just want to bring up an interesting point about this. I think if we allowed ourselves to expand identity beyond those metrics, we would have a lot more inner dialogues between people of different backgrounds. We would see a lot more peace talks. Sometimes it is beautiful to obviously be loyal to culture and the beautiful aspects of it. I am proud to be Arabic American. I'm proud of who I am. But at the same time, it is also okay if there are things you want to change that you feel are in line with deeper truths than your background, deep human truths on who we all are. You should feel free to expand to that place. So maybe it's not a name for you. Maybe it's a way of doing your hair that you feel you have to keep doing the same way. Or maybe it is how you speak or how you sing or what you listen to or what your philosophy is on something. But I would ask you, examine yourself, examine all those things, and don't be afraid. If you have doubts in certain areas, the only way you'll know it's really you is walking through the doubts. And isn't it better to have what sticks and stays with what is actually you? And I promise the things that are truly you won't leave you just because you do this exploration. Yes, my name is changing. No, I didn't expect that. But my heart for people and my heart for singing and my heart for wanting people to know they are valued and loved, that doesn't change. So I'm glad to say the things that matter most stay. And the things that were meant to go, it is a relief to let them go. So let yourself have that feeling of relief. If you've been wearing that symbolic outfit of something, a way of thinking or a way of doing something that is tired and worn out, you don't have to do that anymore. And ultimately, yes, it will bring up complex feelings in the people around you when you make these changes. But eventually they'll see you're at peace. And if anyone is loving you and nurturing you, they will feel joy at your joy. And if there is not always that emotion, recognize sometimes people need time to adjust to the changes you're making. But really, at the end of the day, it's not for them. It is for coming into alignment with you and embracing what you were always meant to be. And that is part of a butterfly. A butterfly is, as I always say, made of the same substance it started with, but it doesn't always look the same in the end. You can't really trace how it went from chrysalis to butterfly. So there is the same essence, but there is also, I won't under like sell or undervalue or whatever word it is, how much you might change through your alchemy journey. And I'm here to support you. I want to create a community that supports your growth and that affirms each of you on your journey. And we are in this together. Thank you.